for Fancies for Flute and String Trio by Gordon Jacob, performed in the KBACH Performance Studio by flutist and KBACH host Viviana Completo-Wilson, violinist Karen Sinclair, violist Christopher McKay, and cellist Melita Hunsinger. They're all members of Urban Nocturnes, and they'll be performing Friday evening at 7 at Trinity Episcopal Church in downtown Phoenix. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Great to have you back in our performance studio. Christopher McKay is at the microphone. That's a really neat set of pieces, kind of like Vaughan Williams might have described as household music, elegant, well-crafted music to be played with friends.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's how our group got started, was through our friendship together and playing chamber music together.
And you've been friends with Trinity Episcopal Church for a long time now, part of their Music at Trinity series. It's been about a decade, right?
That's right. This marks our 10th season as artists in residence at Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in downtown Phoenix. We are delighted and love that community so much. Eric Goldstrom is the music director there, an organist, and he's been a wonderful partner along with the guild that helps to raise money for the concerts that they have there. We just love being there. The community is warm, and they are very much embedded in the community of downtown Phoenix, which I think they want to bring more and more people in. And we're happy to be a part of that because what we love to do is perform music to help people experience things outside of themselves. And our programs, I think, reflect that.
Yeah, and the interesting program, I'll be talking with Karen about that in just a little bit. But speaking of the program, also on Friday's concert is Going Up by Martin Rokeach, and the question mark is in the title there. Tell us a little bit about the composer and about this piece.
Right. We had Mr. Rokeach reach out to us through an email telling us about his music. So we listened to a few of his pieces, and Karen had actually found this piece. The instrumentation is for flute, viola, and cello, and figured that might be exactly something that we could perform. Yes, the title is Going Up with a question mark, and all of the musical themes have this rising figure. And I'll just sing that 1 5-note figure is bum bum beam bum bum, and it does sort of sound like it ends in a question. That's the theme that sort of permeates through the piece. It started with pizzicato with the cello and the viola, but he also takes that 5-note figure and even takes the rhythm of it, bum, 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 which you will also hear the viola and cello play with a very icy kind of cold type of sound. So it's no longer the bum, bum, beam, bum, bum, but it's at least that rhythmic structure that he keeps throughout. So it's a really fun piece. And of course, flute, viola, and cello is such a unique combination of instruments that it's I think for the listener, it's really will be fascinating to hear the different instruments together.
Yeah, it's always fun to have 2 or 3 or 4 musicians playing together and see how they all play off of each other and what happens. It's really the essence of chamber music.
Absolutely.
Here are flutist Viviana Completo-Wilson, violist Christopher McKay, and cellist Melita Hunsinger from Urban Nocturnes. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. It's called Going Up by Martin Rokeach on 89.5 Classical KBACH. That was really neat. I enjoyed that a lot. Going Up by Martin Rokeach, played by members of Urban Nocturnes, flutist Viviana Cumplido Wilson, violist Christopher McKay, and cellist Melita Hunsinger here in the KBACH Performance Studio. Violinist Karen Sinclair of Urban Nocturnes is also here. And Karen, that piece, along with the four fancies we heard earlier, will be on your program Friday, as well as the Truckne Blumen variations for flute and piano by Schubert, and the piano quartet by film composer and former frontman for Oingo Boingo for you fans of 80s pop music, Danny Elfman. Nothing bad ever happens to me. Tell us how you came up with such a fun and eclectic program.
Our pianist Olga actually introduced me to the Elfman a few years ago, and I was just blown away by it, and we finally had an opportunity to feature it. And as you can imagine from his film scores, his writing is just so wild and wicked and mysterious and suspenseful, and it's just a really wild ride, that piece. And I thought it would be really interesting to do on the same program as the Rokeach, because they both have that sort of good-natured edginess and humor, and also coincidentally, they were both composers were born in the year of 1953. So I think that's a really interesting way to hear those two very different pieces, but very interesting works. And contrasting that is the Schubert. I really wanted Vivi and Olga to play something together, because we actually have not had just the two of them do a duo ever on an Urban Nocturnes performance. So the Schubert, I think, is a really perfect counterpoint to both of those pieces, because it has gravity, and it also really shows off their dynamics and their dazzling technique. So I'm really excited about hearing them play that. And the Jacob piece at the start was just a really fresh and easy way to get people settled in their seats and prepared for the wild ride.
Yeah, and something you didn't talk about just then is the way I love that you wend the programs together where you have all the musicians playing but in different combinations. So it's very different than a string quartet program where you have a string quartet playing string quartets. Here you have 4 plus a pianist playing 5 people, and you try to make it all work so it's not just this 5 of you at one time. And it just seems really interesting. In addition to all of the variety that you've talked about, the variety of instrumentation is really interesting too.
Yeah, that's really something that's core of our group. I really wanted to have a group of players that could cover, that type of range, and also to have people that were all capable of playing well and working well together. I think that's really special about the 6 of us, and it allows us to do all kinds of different types of programming and discover new works all the time.
Right, right. Now, the last piece you're going to play today is not on your program this Friday, but it does include flutist and KBACH host Viviana Cumplido Wilson. Vivi, tell us about Mozart's famous dislike for your instrument.
I mean, it wounds me a little bit, someone who's so prolific and beloved that he, had such, well, I'm going to say slight contempt perhaps for the flute. But he did, in spite of that, bestowed us with wonderful pieces for flute, both in terms of solo works and chamber works. And this next piece is one of his quartets, flute quartets, probably the most performed one, the D major quartet. But all 4 of them are really quite interesting. Again, they have different character, each one of these quartets, and we're just grateful that we get to have such wonderful music by one of the greatest of all time.
Right. Flutist Viviana Cumplido Wilson joining violinist Karen Sinclair, violist Christopher McKay, and cellist Melita Hunsinger. They're all part of Urban Nocturnes. This is the first movement of the Flute Quartet in D by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart in the KBACH Performance Studio right here on 89.5 KBACH. Absolutely delightful. The first movement of the Flute Quartet in D by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. We heard musicians from the ensemble Urban Nocturnes, flutist Viviana Compluto-Wilson, violinist Karen Sinclair, violist Christopher McKay, and cellist Melita Hunsinger from the KBACH Performance Studio. Thanks to all of you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You can learn more about Urban Nocturnes at their website, urbannocturnes.com. Their next concert takes place Friday evening, October 17th at 7 at Trinity Episcopal Church, 100 West Roosevelt Street in downtown Phoenix. You can purchase tickets at trinitymusicaz.org/tickets and at the door. Our recording engineer is Dario Miranda. I'm Greg Kostraba. You can hear this interview and performance again at our website, performance.kbach.org.